Welcome to This Week in Morgan County. I'm your host, Russell Mokhiber. Our guest this week is Beth Michael. Beth is running for County School Board in District 2. Her opponent is Pete Gordon, and she'll be on the ballot on May 10th. So if you pick Democrat, Republican, you'll see the nonpartisan election, and you get to vote for school board no matter what party you're in. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Beth, you were born where?
Clearfield, Pennsylvania.
Okay, and what was the work of your family?
My father is a dairy farmer, and my mother works in the school system as a teacher's aide.
Okay, and you went to school in Clearfield?
Yes.
Clearfield High School?
Clearfield High School. Graduated from Clearfield High School.
Okay.
Yes.
And give us your career trajectory. What have you been doing since?
Well, after I graduated high school, I attended Delaware Valley University in Doylestown, Pennsylvania, and I majored in agricultural business. Graduated from there, and I got a job in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, working with farmers, implementing conservation practices to improve soil and water quality, and we worked a lot with barnyards to control the manure and then, to best utilize that for the soil. So that's what I did.
And how long did you do that for?
Ooh, quite a few years. 3 or 4 years, and then once I got married and got pregnant, I made the choice to stay home to raise my children.
Okay. And is that what brought you to Morgan County?
Yes, my husband's family owns a beef farm out on Route 13, so he was very interested in coming home and helping take over the family business, so we moved back about 6 years ago.
And your husband's name is?
Brad Michael.
Brad Michael. And
Yes.
Brad he's a farmer?
He helps farm, yes, but he does work for the Department of Agriculture out of Bedford, Pennsylvania, so he's kind of does both.
Okay. And your father-in-law is Jim Michael?
Yes.
And we've interviewed him on the
Yes,
show.
yes, you have.
About Cacapen State Park.
Yes, he's
and
very
his
active,
other
yes,
interests. Okay.
yes.
Now, you're a stay-at-home mom. Tell us about your kids. How old are they?
My oldest son is Grant. He is 8, almost 9. My middle daughter is Ava. She will be 5 at the end of the month. She'll be starting kindergarten in the fall. And my youngest is Lily, and she will be 2 in May.
Okay. And where do they go to school?
My son Grant currently attends Greenwood Elementary, and my daughter Ava is at a pre-K program at Oak Lane Road. They're little learners.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're on are you on the PTA at Greenwood?
Yes, I'm president of the PTA at Greenwood.
At Greenwood.
Yes.
What made you decide? This was sort of like a last-minute thing for you to
It
run.
was, yes. It was a lot of factors. I think the closing of Greenwood really kicked me into it. I would say the last few years I've been very concerned about some of the things facing the school, but I would say the closing is what really pushed me into action. Okay. Yes.
And tell us about the battle over Greenwood. Why? I mean, it split the community in a lot of ways.
I would say the community surrounding the school wasn't overly split about it. We all wanted to keep the school open. That's been a school that's been there for a long time. A lot of people have attended there. They feel very strongly about the smaller school. A lot of people have difference of opinions on the split grade levels. We've seen how it can work and be very beneficial. What we've been told is that there's no money to keep it open, and that was the driving force behind closing it.
Yeah. Do you believe that there's no money to keep it open?
I believe that, yes, funds are short. I don't necessarily believe that closing the school will solve the problem.
And the argument on the other side is that if you kept Greenwood open, you would have to slash and burn for the rest. Instead of consolidating, you'd have to slash and burn for the rest of the system.
Right.
And I mean, it makes sense that if you're going to spend the money on Greenwood, and in your argument in keeping it open was keep it open and cut those other programs?
Well, I think you make cuts across the board. You don't just pick one community or one school and say we're going to cut you entirely and merge you in with another one. I think you make even cuts across the board that everyone is feeling the burn, not just one community per se.
Okay. Now I've been told that this county had a lot of small schools.
Yes.
We apparently had one in the southern end, and because of consolidation,
right,
it's slowly. Now, you say you believe in small schools. Do you want to bring back those other small schools, or would you push for that?
I don't think so, no. I mean, I think the last school was closed well before we ever moved here 6 years ago, but I think maintaining the ones we have and giving them letting them do what they do. I mean, they have both of the other two small schools have high success rates, and I think we need to help them along and keep them going.
All right. And what is your vision for beyond keeping open school? I mean,
Right.
Greenwood's now going to close.
Right.
Where will your kids go?
My son will move into the intermediate school for 4th grade, and my daughter will start kindergarten at Widmeyer.
And beyond the question, so Greenwood's not coming back, right?
Right. As far as we know.
As far as we know, right?
Yeah.
Unless there's some kind of, will you be campaigning to get it back?
As far as I know today, the state board has yet to approve the closing of the school. So once they do that, then it's done. Once the state board approves the closing of Greenwood School, it's finished. Right now, they haven't done so, but I'm assuming, I think they have a state board meeting tomorrow, or Wednesday. They'll it's on the agenda. So after Wednesday, we'll know for sure if it's closed or not.
If you're elected to the Board of Education,
Right.
will you push to reopen it? Is that
No,
will that be-
if the state superintendent says, yes, we are closing it, then there's not much else we can do. It's done.
And what is your vision for Morgan County education? If you're elected to the Board of Education, what will you bring to the board, to education, that your opponent won't be able to do?
I think I bring a diverse background. P. Gordon is a very nice man, but he's a retired teacher. And that will be, as far as I know, 3 retired teachers on the school board. I think the success to any board is diversity. Different backgrounds working together, bringing different points of view to, make our school a success.
One big issue in education is testing.
Yes.
And teachers are always complaining about being forced to teach to the test.
Right.
What's your thought on that? What should we do about this drive to standardize testing and to push kids into, doing better on tests?
This is my first year, to be honest, that I'll have any experience with testing. My son will be tested this year. I don't know. I don't see necessarily the benefit of teaching just for the test, because you're missing so many other things that are very valuable. Maybe there's a way we can teach for the test, but also branch out and teach other things that are useful. I just don't know the correct answer for that, or the exact way to handle that, because it's a hard question to answer.
Another issue in education is this battle over the question of homeschoolers.
Yes.
We homeschooled our kids through high school, and they went to the high school. There's a big homeschooling community in Morgan County. What should be the Board of Education's policy towards homeschoolers? And what are your thoughts on the homeschoolers for example, on quality of education compared to
Right.
the public schools in Morgan County?
Well, I only know a handful of people that homeschool. I guess we need to have an open dialogue with the homeschoolers and find out exactly why they're homeschooling. Is it something the school system is lacking? What do we need to do to maybe bring them back into the public school? I guess maybe the homeschoolers, they have a broader range of things that they can get into. I don't necessarily think they have testing that they have to teach for, and that's where maybe the downfall of public school is, that we're so concentrated on testing that we forget about all the other things.
The levy was a big issue in Morgan County. There were a couple of them.
Right.
The first one went down to defeat. How were you? What were your thoughts on the levy? The first one, for example.
Well, I have kids in school, so I'll probably always vote for a levy. I think that's important. I guess any levy is better than nothing. So.
You thought, though, in reading the papers, I think you at one of the meetings you said that you thought that.
I do feel that they have made people upset enough that it may not pass when they try it again. Yes.
So and Greenwood was sort of like a little bit of an outlier, because the Greenwood community, which you're part of,
yes,
voted it down significantly the first time, and I think even the second time.
It did fail the second time, but not quite as bad.
Not quite as bad.
Not quite as bad.
So it passed the second time countywide, but actually failed around Greenwood.
Greenwood,
What is it about the Greenwood community?
well, we worked really hard to try to get people to vote. There was a group of us that worked really hard to try
to vote for it.
To vote for it, yes. I think they thought, because we were on the chopping block then to be closed, I think people thought, well, they're going to close us anyway, why vote for it? So I think that was a big thing. When the levy came up and it failed the first time, we lost a lot of really good teachers. And so there's a lot of changes within the school. And I think that really discouraged people. And I think that was the biggest reason it failed in Greenwood.
And John Rowland, who was the principal of Greenwood?
Yes.
And he's, you're running basically with him on a similar platform.
I would say, yeah, we're pretty similar.
And he's running unopposed. And he was part of the Greenwood community that was opposed to the closing, as you are. Do you think this and he's running unopposed, by the way, so he's going to get in.
Yes.
And then the other position will be you against Pete Gordon, and people will choose on that. Do you believe that this is an election? Do you believe this election is a referendum on Greenwood? People are going to say, I don't think Greenwood should have been closed. I'm going to vote for Beth.
Maybe. I can't speak for other people. I mean, I'm sure some people may think that. I don't know if everyone will think that. I hope that they think I'm running because I have the best interests of the kids and, every child at heart. I mean, that's really basically what I'm running for. I just don't know what people are thinking. Honestly, some days I think, oh, I'm doing really well, and then other days I think I am not making an impact at all. So
you really can't, you can't sense it on what the outcome might be.
Yes, no, I cannot. I have no clue. I have no idea. No, I haven't. I figured I'll put my message out, and then people will vote how they feel.
Have you ever run for public office?
I have not. This is the first time.
And how's it going?
It's terrifying. It is terrifying.
Right. And have you been to public events where you both you and Pete speak?
Yes, we've been, I think, to at least 2 or 3, I think, together at the same time. Yes.
And what do you think?
I like Pete. I think he's a great guy. And I think for the most part, we both have the same interest at heart, that, the kids come first, and we'll do what we can to make our schools better for the kids.
What about, a big issue here is money.
Right.
The reason I didn't like the whole Greenwood debate was because it was like a fight over scarce resources. And there is a proposal, a national proposal, that we fund schools equally across the country.
Right.
So we take it out of, poor communities have poor schools and not enough money, and wealthier, you've been to these wealthy communities like suburbs of big cities that are just floating in money, and they have the best schools, and the kid goes to the best colleges and all that. So what about a proposal that would base funding of schools on a national income tax and give an equal amount to every school district in the country without regard to whether the community is wealthy or poor or not? Would you support such a thing? Do you think that's a good idea, to spread the wealth across the country so every school district in the country gets the same amount of money?
I can see where there's advantages to that, especially for rural communities who have smaller schools that don't necessarily have the wealthier income tax. Inner city schools probably would benefit from that. I could see where the benefit, I don't know, I'd have to study that a little. I'm not sure. I could see the great advantages to that, though. Right.
And in this situation where communities are fighting for scarce resources, we're put in this position of deciding Greenwood or not. I think everybody loves small schools, right? But if the money's not there, what are you going to do? So that's what, when you were saying Greenwood ought to stay open, what about the question of the money?
Well, I think our biggest argument was they gave us these broad numbers. They never broke it down. They never said, okay, this amount goes for X, this amount goes for Y, this amount goes for Z. So, when you do that, I think if you're going to close a community school, you need to lay out specifics. You need to get down to the nitty-gritty and show us, you count for each and every dollar. And that's where we were like, well, wait a minute. This didn't seem like it was adding up.
So you say they weren't. If you're elected to the board,
yes.
One of your positions is you will be more transparent.
Yes.
You will lay out the budget.
Yes.
Tell people if there was going to be a closing of a school, tell
Right.
them why and so
Right.
forth.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
Good
having me.
luck on May 10th. It's
Thank
a
you so much.
nonpartisan election, so Republicans, Democrats, everybody will get the ballot
Right.
and get to vote for Beth Michael or Pete Gordon.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you
And
for having
thank
me.
you for joining us on This Week in Morgan County.